How many meals should you be eating in a day? Should you eat little and often, or should you eat a few big meals? Let's break it down. One of the questions I get asked the most is, how many meals should I be eating in a day? There's so many myths going around, and so many people say lots of different things. People say you should eat little and often. Some people say you should eat big meals but not frequently. And there's a lot of bro science that goes on and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to try and clarify it all for you guys now. Now before I start, I just want to tell you I've kind of played around with everything throughout the years. I've done the whole 6 meals a day. I've done where I've had 1 or 2 meals a day, the more Western type of diet where it's 3 meals. I've kind of played around with everything, and this is kind of based off of my own experience plus a little bit of science. So right off the bat, what is that magic number of meals you should be eating in a day? And the answer is, it doesn't matter. That's right, it doesn't actually matter how many meals you eat in a day. To an extent, I'll get to that. But depending on your goal, it should always be calories in versus calories out. If you're trying to gain weight, you always want to be in a calorie surplus, where you're eating more calories than you're burning off. And if you want to lose weight or lose body fat, you need to be in a caloric deficit, where you're consuming less calories than you're burning off. The actual number of meals does not matter that much if it comes to those kinds of goals. It doesn't matter whether you eat 6 meals a day or 1 meal a day. If you're still consuming the same amount of calories, your body is still going to change based on that. I could eat 2,000 calories over the space of 6 meals throughout the day, or I could eat 2,000 calories in 1 meal. In that 24-hour period, I'm still consuming 2,000 calories. So if your main goal is either to lose or gain weight, by all means, eat when you need to. Just make sure it's the calories in versus calories out, and you're consuming the right amount you need to achieve your goal. Where it does start to matter is when it comes to health. So we've always been told, eat little and often. Everyone in the fitness community seems to think you need to eat around 6 meals a day, spacing them out like every 2 hours. And that might be well and good for you, but I'll tell you why it didn't work for me and what I found about it. So the reason it didn't work for me was my lifestyle. I mean, I don't have time to constantly be eating. I have clients throughout the day. Even when I was working in an office when I was doing it, I can't just keep leaving my desk every hour or two to go and heat up food and eat it. And carrying all that food around can be annoying too. So there's no way I want to walk around carrying 6 meals with me and then every 2 hours stop what I'm doing just to kind of eat. And I did used to do that for a while, and it literally reached a point where I'd be checking the time constantly to see, oh, is it time to eat now? And it kind of takes over your life, and that's not what you want. Also, every time you eat, your digestive system has to start working again, so you're never actually letting it rest. And when it does break down food and you do eat, and if you're doing that constantly, it can get very inflamed and you can get an upset stomach, you get more gassy, that sort of thing, and it's just not good for your overall digestive health to be constantly in an eating state. It does need rest from time to time. It can't just constantly be working. This is why I kind of prefer eating less meals throughout the day rather than eating 6, for example. On the flip side, I also don't think you need to eat 3 meals like a Western type diet, breakfast, lunch and dinner. We've been told since we were kids you have to have breakfast, lunch and dinner. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, all of that kind of nonsense. This is a very Western way of thinking. It's more new school. Back in the days, our ancestors never used to eat breakfast, lunch and dinner. They were hunter-gatherers. They would kind of eat when they had the food there. This is why I'm a big advocate of intermittent fasting, which is what I personally do and have been doing for a long time now. I tend to eat 2 meals a day. I will stay in my fasted state, I'll train, and then I'll have my first meal, which I'll break my fast, and it's quite a big meal to be fair. And then a few hours later, I'll have my second meal, again another big meal, and that's me done. I don't need breakfast, lunch and dinner. I kind of just get my calories into 2 meals, and it works with my lifestyle. Again, you have to always go with what works for you. Everyone's lifestyles are different, everyone's jobs are different, all of that. So you kind of have to find what works for you, and that's what works best for me. So play around with it, find the ideal number of meals that do work for you. But like I said, if you're more health conscious, you do want to kind of give your digestive system a rest every now and then. So if you do feel like eating 6 meals a day, by all means go for it, but maybe don't do it every single day. Just let your body have a bit of a break now and then. Finally, it just depends on the type of person you are. I mean, I've always been the type of person who can just sit down and have a massive meal, and I can have a feast and I can fit it all in me. I know people, I have clients, I have friends who can't eat big meals. they eat a little bit and then they kind of get full up and they feel sick if they try and force any more down. So for people like that, it might be better to eat little and often. But for someone like me, if I can eat big meals, I will always choose that over small ones. Also, when you're giving your body small meals every couple of hours, you'll never kind of feel satisfied, you'll never feel satiated, you'll kind of always want more. Whereas when you do have the bigger meals, you do feel like, right, I've had a good meal there, I'm full up, your body feels satisfied. So just mentally it can be a little bit easier to eat the bigger meals because you're not constantly feeling hungry or feeling like, oh, I haven't had a decent meal. So that's all, guys. I mean, overall it doesn't matter how many meals you eat a day, it is just the amount of calories you're consuming for your goal. But like I said, health wise, I would always prefer to eat less meals but just have them slightly bigger, and just for convenience. I mean, who wants to constantly be eating every 2 hours? Let's be honest, we have things we need to do in life. You can't just sit there eating all the time. It would be great if you could, but you can't, unless you're very lazy and you do nothing else with your life but eat. But for most of us, that's not the case, so we've got to find what works for us. So how many meals do you guys eat a day? Do you eat little and often, or do you eat big meals? What kind of person are you? What do you find works for you and what doesn't? Please leave a comment below and let me know. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, it would mean a lot to me, and go and follow me on Instagram, it's at DNAFitnessUK, and I'll speak to you guys soon.